Live from the heart of Indiana, this is News Center 13 at 6 o'clock with Tom Cochrun, Anne Ryder, Bob Gregory's exclusive AccuWeather, and Don Hines Sports. The news starts now.
Good evening. Fort Benjamin Harrison could see new life as an Indiana National Guard post if a new proposal goes into effect.
Our top story at 6 o'clock is a National Guard plan to save money and utilize soon-to-be-closed state bases. But the idea faces some opposition, including skepticism from the community surrounding Fort Benjamin Harrison. Jim Condellis has the exclusive story.
The plan could mean moving components of the Indiana National Guard from Stout Field and other locations to Fort Harrison and possibly Grissom Air Force Base. The idea is very much in the preliminary stages, but it will be presented to military officials in Washington tomorrow.
We do have several facilities here in Indianapolis that are overcrowded. We're leasing some facilities, and we have some major construction plans to build new facilities to alleviate some of those problems. And we're looking at the possible closure of Fort Harrison, and we see an opportunity there to relocate some of those activities without taking some of these other steps, and it'd be tremendous cost savings to us.
But with a number of ideas being bounced around for the future of Fort Harrison, from making it a park to developing luxury homes, the city of Lawrence isn't too keen on the National Guard idea.
If the National Guard wants to put in their plan for partial or all the utilization of that fort, I think they certainly have the right to do that. But at the same time, our community is seriously affected, and the National Guard, is like the rest of the military, they may get tired of the place next year and want to move on to someplace else.
The city of Lawrence wants to see Fort Harrison property returned to the tax rolls. The National Guard move would save the state some money, but wouldn't do a lot for the local tax base. Jim Condellis, News Center 13.
The Indiana National Guard has a plan to build a multi-million-dollar armory building at Stout Field in Indianapolis. That money could be saved if the Guard would move its operations to Fort Benjamin Harrison. The Pentagon budget acts might not stop at Fort Harrison and Grissom. Other Indiana facilities could also wind up on the hit list. When the Base Closure Commission meets again in 1993, jobs at the Naval Avionics Center in Indianapolis could be cut. But the facility played a key role in the Gulf War by developing part of the Tomahawk missile, something that could work in its favor. Also under close scrutiny, the Crane Naval Weapons Center, but 4 multi-million-dollar military construction projects could help insulate Crane from cuts as well. Ann?
Another money matter. The City-County Council will get the opportunity to begin cutting away at the proposed 1992 budget tonight. Mayor Hudnut and County Auditor John Von Arx will present their budgets this evening. Kevin Rader is standing by at City Hall with more. Kevin?
And that is right. It all begins in earnest tonight. The debate over the budget. It's not expected to wrap up until September. But to put these numbers in front of you so you can really get an idea of what they are, Mayor Hudnut's proposed 1992 budget, $481.3 million. That actually represents a decrease from a year ago. The county budget, $128.4 million, also holds a line on property taxes. But County Auditor John Von Arx points out it'll be hard to convince taxpayers of that.
Raising or holding the line on taxes for 3 years running. The city, of course, has done the same. Yet there are other taxing units that have the ability to levy their own tax rates. School corporations, townships, state welfare, and other state-related programs that all go into the pie that affect a taxpayer's bill.
The other budgets that make up the taxpayers' pie should be known in August. But as I said, the debate over the city-county budget begins in earnest tonight. Ann?
And we'll have details at 10 o'clock.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Kevin. A budget war is underway between Marion County Juvenile Court Judge James Payne and the City-County Council. They're at odds over youth services funding. The plan calls for Payne's Court and the Marion County Children's Guardian Home to provide more than $250,000 in services, but only $178,000 is budgeted.
If it were my son or daughter running away from home, being threatened on the street, potentially getting into prostitution, maybe breaking into a home, getting hooked up with a Jeffrey Dahmer of the world, yes, $60,000 is a cheap price to pay for that, and I hope that our community is prepared to pay that.
Judge Payne says extra money could be found somewhere in the county budget, while the city-county subcommittee members say the judge would spend money at a rate that would leave him with a $150,000 deficit. The committee endorsement of the plan goes before the full council this evening. Tom?
Grand jury selection begins 1 week from tomorrow in the case of boxer Mike Tyson, who is accused of rape. The former heavyweight champion is accused of raping an 18-year-old beauty pageant contestant during a visit to Black Expo last month. Marion County authorities say they want the grand jury to consider the matter before any charges might be filed. Tyson has issued a statement through his attorney denying the rape. Meanwhile, Rosie Jones, the 1990 Miss Black America, has now been interviewed by Indianapolis police. She has been questioned about her claims that Mike Tyson sexually fondled her at last month's opening ceremonies of Indiana Black Expo. Police are also talking to the limousine owner, Virginia Foster. Foster is said to have transported the alleged victim on the night of Tyson's accused rape. However, News Center 13 has learned Foster may have been operating her limo service illegally at the time. Authorities say Foster's company, Solid Gold Limousine, had lost its state permit about a month before the alleged incident.
Our records indicate that the company in question, their authority was temporarily suspended beginning June 21st and was reinstated July 25th of this year.
That was after Black Expo. Meantime, witnesses report seeing Foster and her limousine at Tyson's Hotel on the night of the alleged rape. Limousine operator Virginia Foster has refused comment about the case. Ann?
Along with making grades this fall, an increasing number of Indiana students will be struggling to make tuition payments.
I think it's definitely on an upward trend as far as the requests for financial assistance.
Alan Hill is Director for Financial Aid at Depauw. Nearly two-thirds of the freshman class headed for Greencastle are receiving scholarships, grants, or special loans. That's up from 50% a few years ago. Hill says colleges and universities are having to make up for a decrease in government financial aid programs.
This year there was about 11% decrease in the actual amount of state dollars that were out there, that were allocated.
While the cost of tuition
has continued to climb each year.
Even with increases in tuition, many colleges and universities are having money problems. A survey from the American Council of Education finds 45% of the schools are enduring mid-year budget cuts.